Hi, Shabbat Shalom. Start that over again. Ya la 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 ya la 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 ya la 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 ya la 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 ya la 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 ya la 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 ya la 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 ya la ya la ya la 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 la
Shabbat Shalom.
Shabbat Shalom.
We are so delighted to be here with all of you to welcome Shabbat. I am Cantor Amanda Kleinman, joined in the leadership of our service by Cantor Danielle Rodniski, one of those Shabbatot where we kick the rabbis off of the bima. And we are joined as well by Pete Malinverni at the piano. And a little bit later in our service, we will hear from Cynthia Samwick, who will share some words of Torah with us, and we're very much looking forward to that a little bit later on in our service. This has been a heavy week for the Jewish people, of course, with the passage of laws limiting the authority of the Supreme Court in Israel that has thrown the country into even greater turmoil. And the passage of that law just so happened to coincide with the week of Tisha B'Av that we just observed, the observance on the Jewish calendar that marks the destruction of the temple along with other calamities that have befallen the Jewish people throughout its history. However, in the midst of a heavy time on the Jewish calendar, and a heavy time in our hearts as Jewish people, the Jewish tradition offers us this Shabbat called Shabbat Nachamu, the Shabbat of comfort. And that is because even in the midst of challenge, our tradition offers us space for comfort and offers us a path forward. And so in that spirit of this Shabbat of comfort, we would like to begin our service this evening actually by asking anybody who has a simcha that they are celebrating this week. It could be a formal simcha or just anything in your life that makes you happy, to please share your happy occasions with this community. So if you have anything special that you're celebrating this week or this summer, we would love to hear about that, and we would love to celebrate with you. Cheryl.
We're happy to have you with us.
I know after so it's your first time back at Temple in several years, which we are so happy to have you. Mothers, yes.
Four grandchildren with summer birthdays. The oldest just turned 8, so it's a summer celebration.
Well,
Beautiful.
Mazel tov. Anyone else? And so with the light that all of you shared with us this evening, we share the light as well of our Shabbat candles, which are currently stuck to the tables above.
Oh no.
All right, hold on.
Asher kishanu mitzvotav v'tzivanu lehadlik ner shel Shabbat.
Beautiful to bring a little bit more light into our world, and I'll ask you to please excuse me as I peel wax off of my fingers as we continue our service on page 130, welcoming Shabbat with the words L'chu Naranana. We continue with Lecha Dodi.
Lecha Dodi, likrat kala b'nei Shabbat lekabela. Lecha Dodi, likrat kala b'nei Shabbat lekabela.
remain standing for the Baruch Hu, our call to prayer, page 146. Baruch Hu et Adonai HaMevorach.
Baruch Adonai Hamvorach Leolam Vaed.
Baruch Adonai HaMevorach Leolam Vaed.
Page 148. Roll into dark, roll into light. Night becomes day, day turns to night.
Roll into dark, roll into light. Night becomes day, day turns to night. Borei yom v'layla, golel or mipnei choshech, golel or mipnei choshech, v'choshech mipnei or. Roll into yom v'layla, golel or mipnei choshech, golel or mipnei
Roll into dark, roll into dark, roll into light. Night becomes day, day turns to night. Roll into dark, roll into light. Night becomes day, day turns to night.
This week's Torah portion, Ve'et Hanan, actually includes the words of the Shema and Ve'ahavta. You'll hear Cynthia reflect on them a little later on in our service, but for now we continue on page 152, affirming our oneness with God and with one another as we declare these watchwords of the Jewish faith, the words of the Shema. Shema Yisrael, Adonai Eloheinu, Adonai, Adonai Echad.
shall be in your heart. Teach them faithfully unto your children. Speak of them when you sit in your house, when you walk by the way, when you lie down, and when you rise. Bind them for a sign upon your hand, that they may be a symbol between your eyes. Write them on the doorposts of your house and upon your gates, and upon your gates. Teach them faithfully unto your children. Speak of them when you sit in your house, when you walk by the way, when you lie down, and when you rise, and when you rise.
Page 158, we continue with our people's song of freedom, Mi Chamocha.
Who is like you, Adonai? Who is like you, Adonai? Ya la la la, ya la 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 la, ya la 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 la, ya la 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 la, ya la la ya la 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 la, ya la 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 la, ya la 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 la. Mi chamocha, mi chamocha ba'elim Adonai, mi kamocha nehedar b'kodesh, nora tehilot, osei felet, nora tehilot, osei felet. Who is like you, Adonai? Who is like you, Adonai? Ya la la la, ya la la la, ya la 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 la, ya la 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 la, ya la 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 la, ya la la la, ya la 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 la, ya la 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 la, ya la 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 la. ונאמר כי פדה אדוני את יעקב וגאלו מיד חזק ממנו, ברוך אתה אדוני גאל ישראל.
As I shared when we began our service, this has been a week of turmoil in Israel as the Israeli Knesset passed a controversial law limiting the authority of Israel's judicial branch, a law which many fear challenges Israel's status as a democratic state. Rabbi Blake shared powerful words connecting this past week in Israel to our recent observance of Tisha B'Av, and I would invite you to read his words in this week's e-blast. For now, we pray, Baruch Atah Adonai, haporei sukat shalom aleinu ve'al kol amo Yisrael ve'al Yerushalayim. Blessed are you, eternal our God, who spreads a shelter of peace over us, over the state of Israel and all of its people, and over our beloved city of Jerusalem. We sing together at the bottom of page 160. Baruch atah, atah Adonai, haporei sukat shalom. Shalom aleinu ve'al kol amo Yisrael. Baruch atah, atah Adonai, haporei sukat shalom. Shalom aleinu ve'al kol amo Yisrael. Ve'al Yerushalayim ve'al kol amo. Ve'al Yerushalayim shalom. Ve'al Yerushalayim ve'al kol amo. Ve'al Yerushalayim shalom. Baruch atah, atah Adonai, haporei sukat shalom. Shalom aleinu ve'al kol amo Yisrael. Shalom aleinu ve'al kol amo Yisrael.
We rise in body or in spirit for our Amidah on page 164. Adonai Svatai Tiftach. Adonai Svatai Tiftach. Ufi Yagid Tehillah
Elohei Avotenu ve'imotenu, Elohei Avraham, Elohei Yitzchak, ve'Elohei Yaakov, Elohei Sarah, Elohei Rivka, Elohei Rachel, ve'Elohei Leah, Ha'el Hagadol, Hagibor ve'Hanora, El Elyon, Gomel Chasadim Tovim, ve'Koneh Hakol, ve'Zocher Chasdei Avot ve'Imahot, u'mevii geula livnei bneihem, למען שמו באהבה, מלך עוזר ומושיע ומגן, ברוך אתה אדוני, מגן אברהם ועזרת שרה, אתה גיבור לעולם אדוני, מחיי הכל אתה רב להושיע, מוריד הטל, מכלכל חיים בחסד, מחיי הכל ברחמים רבים, סומך נופלים ורופא חולים, ומתיר אסורים, ומקיים אמונתו לשני עפר. מי כמוך בעל גבורות ומידו מלך, מלך ממית ומחיה ומצמיח ישועה, ונאמן אתה להחיות הכל, ברוך אתה אדוני מחיי הכל. אתה קדוש ושמך קדוש, וקדושים בכל יום יהללוך סלה, ברוך אתה אדוני האל הקדוש.
We now take a few moments silently in private with the words of our hearts or the words of the Siddur through page 180. You may be seated when you are finished. As Cantor Kleinman shared at the beginning of our service, this has been a very heavy week in our Jewish calendar and a heavy week in our Jewish state. As we sit amidst the rubble of Tisha B'Av and the law-limiting Supreme Court power in Israel, as we assess what is broken, let us reach out to one another, leveraging our shared humanity to help us build a world of wholeness. On this Shabbat Nachamu, as we struggle to navigate the wilderness of this time, let us find comfort in caring for one another, in lending a hand to participate in the shared work of Tikkun Olam, the repair of our fractured world. Nachamu, Nachamu, Ami Omar Elohechem, Nachamu, Nachamu, Ami Omar Elohechem, Nachamu, Nachamu, Ami Omar Elohechem, Nachamu, Nachamu, Ami Omar Elohechem. Comfort us in our wilderness. Comfort us as we struggle to take care of one another. Comfort us in our wilderness. Comfort us as we struggle with this world. Nachamu, Nachamu, Ami Omar Elohechem, Nachamu, Nachamu, Ami Omar Elohechem. Comfort us in our wilderness. Comfort us as we struggle to take care of one another. Comfort us in our wilderness. Comfort us as we struggle with this world. Nachamu, Nachamu, Ami Omar Elohechem, Nachamu, Nachamu, Ami Omar Elohechem.
It is an honor for me at this time to introduce our guest darshan for this evening, Cynthia Samwick. Cynthia and her husband, Mark, have lived in Scarsdale for 26 years. They raised their 3 sons, Jason, Oliver, and George, and have built a full and meaningful life in Scarsdale. WRT is a central core of their community. Cynthia feels blessed to be part of such an engaging, spiritual, and fulfilling congregation with intelligent, talented, and devoted clergy. Thank you for the compliment. Dedicated volunteers and amazing support teams. Cynthia has been involved with WRT since their boys began nursery school. She completed the adult confirmation class, the Melton program, and she participates in Musar classes. One of Cynthia's annual highlights is singing with the timbrels at the WRJ Seder. The WRT family continues to be an integral part of her Jewish identity and growth as she has evolved from an ECC mother to a Freebird. Cynthia started her professional career in healthcare marketing and education. She is the founder and managing partner of Westchester Wellness, LLC, a community of mental health providers. She has engaged in many rewarding volunteer opportunities outside of WRT, including UJA, Dorote, Scarsdale Edgemont Family Counseling Services, Scarsdale Adult School, STEP program, a WJCS tutor, and numerous PTA activities at the Heathcote School. She received her Bachelor of Science from the University of North Carolina at Chapel Hill and an MSW from Fordham University. She is a certified yoga and mindfulness meditation instructor, as well as a mental health first aid responder. Cynthia is honored and delighted to dedicate her time, experience, and energy to WRT, and we are honored and delighted that you have accepted our invitation to join our Board of Trustees, as well as our invitation to offer us some words of Torah this evening. So I'd like to invite Cynthia forward at this time.
Huge introduction. Ay, ay, ay. Okay, how lucky are we on this Shabbat of comfort to have the neshama with these gorgeous voices. This was so uplifting and beautiful. Thank you. Can you hear me? Oh my God. Okay. Shabbat Shalom. It's an honor to be here on the Bima to share my thoughts on this week's Torah portion, Ve'et Ha'anan. In this Torah reading, Moses continues his attempt to impress upon the Israelites the importance of following God's commandments, the rewards which will result from obeying God's words, and the punishment they will endure if they neglect to do so. Moses recounts the story of giving the Torah at Mount Sinai and repeats the Ten Commandments. Also, Moses designates cities of refuge. At the heart of this week's Parsha lies the iconic passage known as the Shema, which instructs us to cherish the eternal bond we share as a people and to love our fellow Jews unconditionally. The Shema states, "Hear, O Israel, the Lord is our God, the Lord is one." The text continues with the words of the Ve'ahavta, "You shall love the Lord your God with all your heart, with all your soul, and with all your might." This oneness extends our relationship with God and speaks to the unity we must foster within our community for ourselves and for the sake of our people. When we recite these words together as a community, we affirm our connection with one another, transcending the boundaries of time and space. We become part of a sacred tapestry woven by generations past, present, and future. A tapestry that binds us together as a people, a family, and a nation. Preach! Okay, I didn't ask him to add that part in. Okay, as we recite the Shema, let us not merely utter the words, but internalize their profound significance. Let us open our hearts to embrace the unity that binds us together as Jews, regardless of our differences. Let us remember that although our shared heritage and shared commitment to God, we are bound by an unbreakable bond. Now, let's delve deeper into Jewish stories that help us glean further insight into the consequences of division and the importance of unity. The story of Kansma and Bar Kansma is a famous Jewish parable that is found in the Talmud and takes place during the time leading up to the destruction of the Second Temple in Jerusalem. You have to follow along. There's three stories that kind of follow along. The story begins with a wealthy man who was hosting a grand banquet. The man had a friend named Kansma and an enemy named Bar Kansma. The party invitation was mistakenly delivered to Bar Kamsa, the enemy, instead of Kamsa, the friend. Bar Kamsa, eager to reconcile with the host, was overjoyed at the prospect of being included in this banquet. However, the host was enraged by his enemy's presence at the party and asked Bar Kamsa to leave immediately. Feeling humiliated and desperate to salvage the situation, Bar Kamsa pleaded with the host to allow him to stay at the party, offering to pay for his portion of the feast. Despite his numerous offers, the host remained unmoved and adamantly refused his presence. Frustrated and hurt, Bar Kamsa hatched a plan to take revenge against both the host and the entire Jewish community. He falsely accused the Jews of rebellion against the Roman Empire, leading to a series of events that ultimately concluded with the Roman siege of Jerusalem and the destruction of the Second Temple. The story of Kansma and Bar Kansma is a cautionary tale about the consequences of hatred and lack of compassion. The refusal of the host to show kindness to him was devastating for the entire Jewish community. We learn from this parable that the destruction of the Second Temple and the subsequent exile of the Jewish people were not solely caused by external forces like the Roman Empire. It was also a result of internal divisions that weakened the unity of the Jewish community. In fact, this story has become a core text of the Tisha B'Av, the holiday we just observed yesterday, as a day of collective mourning for the destruction of the temple and innumerable other tragedies that have befallen our people. The story reminds us to practice compassion, forgiveness, and empathy towards others, even in moments of conflict. By embracing these values, Jews are encouraged to build a stronger and more resilient community, fostering a spirit of unity that can withstand any challenge. Now, the next story. In the biblical tale of Lot, which is found in Genesis, we encounter a narrative similarly, but reveals how self-centeredness can tear apart the very fabric of our society. Sodom was known for its extreme inhospitality and indifference to the needs of strangers. The residents of this opulent city were so absorbed in their own pursuits and pleasures that they could not be bothered to even pass the salt to one another during a meal. When two angels, disguised as travelers, arrived in Sodom, Lot recognized the gravity of their situation. Despite prevailing societal norms, Lot felt an obligation to provide hospitality to these strangers. However, even Lot's noble efforts could not mask the deeply ingrained problems of Sodom. As night fell, the men surrounded the city of Lot's home and demanded that he surrender the strangers so that they could cause them harm. The angels ultimately saved Lot and his family from the impending destruction of Sodom. As we all know, it became a pillar of salt. But this cataclysmic event serves as a warning against the dangers of selfishness, indifference, and moral decay, encouraging us to practice compassion and hospitality and to reject a self-centered existence. Drawing parallels to our own lives, we must reflect on how our actions and our attitudes to our fellow Jews can affect the unity of our community. Just as internal strife can lead to disastrous outcomes, so too can a lack of concern for others erode the very fabric of our peoplehood. This week's Parsha reminds us that our strength lies in our unity and our shared responsibility to care for one another. On my recent visit to Israel with the Women's Torah Study Group, we reflected on the significance of the story of the broken and the whole 10 Commandment tablets, a powerful illustration of human imperfection and the journey towards repair and reconciliation. As the Jewish people encamped at the foot of Mount Sinai, Moses ascended the mountain to receive the 10 Commandments from God. However, while Moses was on the mountaintop, some of the people succumbed to impatience and insecurity, creating a golden calf to worship as an idol. This act fractured the sacred unity between God and the Israelites. Upon descending from the mountain, Moses witnessed this heartbreaking sight and in his righteous indignation shattered the tablets. The broken tablets mirrored the rupture in the relationship between God and the Israelites. In the aftermath of this tragic incident, Moses pleaded with God on behalf of his people, seeking forgiveness and for the opportunity to repair what had been destroyed. In his divine wisdom and compassion, God granted Moses a second chance to receive the 10 Commandments. Once again, Moses ascended Mount Sinai, where God lovingly inscribed the 10 Commandments on a new set of stone tablets. These whole tablets represented the hope for a renewed covenant, a fresh start, and a reconciliation between God and the Jewish people. The broken and the whole tablets were placed side by side in the Ark of the Covenant, serving as a profound reminder of the human journey, reflecting both our moments of brokenness and the potential for healing and wholeness. The broken tablets represent the fragility of human nature, the capacity, which I just did, for error, and the consequences of straying from the path of righteousness, reminding us that no one is perfect and there is hope for redemption. On the other hand, the whole tablets symbolize the resilience of the human spirit and the potential for growth and transformation, exemplifying the boundless capacity for individuals and communities to mend their ways and forge a stronger, more faithful relationship with the divine. This story teaches us that as imperfect beings, we are capable of both making mistakes and learning from them. Now I would like to share with you a personal story of resilience and unity. It is a story of my father, a Holocaust survivor from Budapest. Before the war, tensions existed between different segments of the Jewish community in Budapest. My father described how assimilated Jews looked down upon and often viewed Orthodox Jews as less educated or worldly. However, such distinctions became inconsequential in the face of the unimaginable horror and persecution that Jews faced when the Nazis occupied Hungary in 1944. Jews were subject to anti-Jewish measures and were forced into ghettos, as was my family. Eventually, the Nazis and their Hungarian collaborators began mass deportations of Jews to extermination camps. In this dire context, my father was hiding while much of his family suffered the unbearable fate of being transported in cattle cars to the ovens of Auschwitz. In such circumstances, the differences in how individuals practiced their faith became inconsequential. The spirit of unity and mutual respect prevailed as Jews stood together in the face of unimaginable hardship. The Holocaust had a devastating impact on the Hungarian Jewish community, resulting in the loss of 565,000 Hungarian Jews. Many members of my family perished in the camps, including my father's grandmother. The legacy of my father's loss was imparted to me as he looked at the photo of his grandmother holding him as a child every single solitary day of his life. Still, a legacy of survival, resilience, and unity endured, reminding future generations of the importance of standing together in the face of adversity and finding solidarity in shared identity. So why do we sometimes divide ourselves along the lines of denomination, observance, or ideology? The story of my father and countless others during the Holocaust teaches us the importance of unity. As we recite the Shema, proclaiming the oneness of God, we must recognize that we are called to be one people. Let us not forget the important lessons from the stories of Bar Kokhba and Lot. These narratives caution us against eternal strife and selfishness, urging us to care for our fellow Jews. When we come together as one, the fractures that divide us begin to heal, and we create a community built on love, respect, and understanding. Just as the ark held both the broken and the whole tablets, we too carry our own brokenness. But when we embrace our imperfections and accept one another, we become a unified whole, stronger than the sum of our parts. As we conclude our reflections on Ve'hat Hanan, may we carry these profound messages in our heart. Let us strive to be a community that embodies the spirit of the Shema, not only declaring the oneness of God, but embracing the oneness of our people. May we all be blessed with strength and courage to break down walls, both literal and metaphorical, and build bridges that connect us as one people, indivisible in the eyes of God and in the eyes of the world.
We take a moment to think of those in our lives who are in need of a little extra blessing, to bring them in our fold and to feel one with them, as Cynthia invited us to do. If there's someone you are thinking of who is in need of healing, whether that be healing of the mind, body, or spirit, I invite you to rise and to share their name aloud or in your hearts. We also hold in our hearts those in our WRT community who are in need of some healing blessings. Binyamin Ben Reuven, Jennifer Leventhal, Jeffrey Millman, Malka Gila Bat Bina, Emerson Lorenzoni, Mindel Shana Bat Suralea, Tova Bat Esther, Robin Weitz, Gloria Byron, Stephen Gilberg, Yohanan Ben Sipora, Judy Balsam, Ilana Bat Shmuel, Chaya Fega Bat Leah, Leah Bat Nina Bat Binyamin, Rachel Brocha, Tony and Gina DeLappa, Matthew Atwood, Anthony and Elizabeth Dankner, Deborah Kapnick, Nicole Shusi, Andrew Goldstein, Chava Bat Sara, Eliyahu Chaim Ben Fredel, Sheila Freed, Malka Tzipora Basrachel, Tamar Bat Malka, Deborah Greenfield, Leonore Galen Mendelson, Elka Miriam Bat Fega, Jenny Kaufman, Sophia Schenkler, Theo Halpert Hearn, Pradeep Ramamurthy, Zachary Morant, Yitzchak Ben Sarah, Heschel Meir Ben Davida Chana. We hold all of those names in our hearts, the ones spoken aloud and in our hearts, and we turn to page 371 for our Misha Berach prayer for healing.
Mote
We now rise in body or in spirit for our Aleinu prayer on page 586.
On this Shabbat Nachamu, this Sabbath of comfort, we want to offer as well comfort to all of those in our congregation who are mourning. Hamakom Yenachem Etchem. May God be a source of comfort to you, and may this community be a source of comfort to one another. And so as we prepare to offer the words of the mourner's Kaddish, I would like to invite the congregation to please rise in the following order. If you are in the first week following the loss of your loved one, the period of Shiva, would you please rise at this time? If you're in a period of Shloshim, the first 30 days following the loss of your loved one, would you please rise at this time? If you're in the first year following the loss of your loved one, would you please rise at this time? And if this Shabbat marks the yahrzeit, the anniversary of the death of your loved one, would you please rise at this time? And at this time, I'd like to ask our entire congregation to please rise to offer comfort to our mourners. This Shabbat, our community remembers those taken from us in recent weeks. Judith Green, mother of Karen Green; Barry Chaikin, cousin of Michelle Smith; Judith Z. Weinberg, mother of David Weinberg, Jean Weinberg, and Barbara Groden; and grandmother of Deborah Groden, Philip Weinberg, Suzanne Laswell, and Sarah Dinneberg; Jim Misilo, stepfather of Kristen Friedman; Michael Greenfield, cousin of Michelle Smith; Alfred Fields, husband of Devorah Fields and father of Ephraim Fields and Lisa Fields Lewis; Carol Bacon, mother of Scott Bacon and grandmother of Rabbi Sasha Bacon; David Milberg, brother of Daniel Milberg; Ruth Legum, mother of Blaine Levinson; Tatum Cohen, cousin of Barbara Pollard Stein. This Shabbat, we mark as well the Yahrzeit, the anniversary of the passing of the following people: Elsie Adler, Helen Berger, Lillian Birnbaum, Howard Boyle, Renee Brandeis, Eric Brandeis, Bernard Burton, Bess Byron, Laura Fitterer, Anna Sertilman, Dorothy Dolans, Elmer Ecker, Rebecca Cohn Edelstein, Claire Feldman, Florence Rosenthal, David H. Fram, Sarah Gelb, Mark Gitlin, Natalie Goldstein, Beatrice Gover, Fred Haber, Isidore Held, Benjamin Hoffman, Sarah Haran, Vivian E. Sambert, William B. Jager, Harry Jareski, Sylvia Kelton, Thelma Kessner, Victor Kotowitz, Helen Leipzig, Samuel Malamed, Jesse B. Menon, Theodore Morse, Andrew Novick, Sylvia Pankin, Carol Forsheimer, Burton Strauss, Lillian Klein Pollock, Louis Roseman, Sadie Rosenberg, Arthur Rosenthal, Fred Rudin, Miriam Tessis, Ralph Shaler, Theodore Schuster, Florence Simberkoff, Beatrice Smiley, Francis Spivak, Irving Spivak, Anne Beatrice Steyer, Anne Weinheim, Richard A. Zellner. If there are any names to add to our commemoration, I would invite you to share them at this time. We join together now in the words of the Mourner's Kaddish, page 598. Yitgadal v'yitgadash shemei Rabbah, be'alma divrach irute v'yamlich malchute, b'chayechon uv'yomechon uv'chaye dechol Beit Yisrael, ba'agalau v'zman kari v'imru amen. Yehe shmei Rabbah mevarach le'alam u'lalmei almaya. Yitbarach v'yishtabach v'yitpa'ar v'yitromam v'yitnaseh. V'yitadar v'yitaleh v'yitalal shemei dekudsha b'richu. Le'ela min kol birchata v'shirata. Tushbechata v'nechemata. Da'amiran be'alma v'imru amen. Yehe shlama rabba min shemaya. V'chayim aleinu ve'al kol Yisrael v'imru amen. Oseh shalom b'imromav. Hu ya'aseh shalom. Aleinu ve'al kol Yisrael ve'imru amen. Oseh shalom b'imromav. Hu ya'aseh shalom. Aleinu ve'al kol Yisrael ve'imru amen. Please be seated. I'll share just a few very brief announcements as we move toward the conclusion of our service. First, that we hope you'll join us tomorrow morning at 9 a.m. for our Torah study minyan as well as our Torah study. And also, we hope you will join us on Wednesday, April 9th at August 9th. Yes. Yeah, thank you. Yeah.
Don't worry.
We hope you will join us on Wednesday, August 9th at Congregation Kol Ami in White Plains for our annual summer stage concert. It will be very fun, as always. We also have on this Sunday, July 30th, our Supplies for Success program, a partnership with UJA to help pack backpacks full of school supplies for children who are in need. You can still register for that event, and you can find the link on our website. I want to offer our thanks as well as we conclude our service to Randy Wise, who served as our greeter this Shabbat. And I would like to invite the congregation to please rise once more as we conclude our service with another prayer for peace. Od yavo shalom aleinu.
Hey עוד יבוא שלום עלינו, עוד יבוא שלום עלינו, עוד יבוא שלום עלינו ועל כולם. עוד יבוא שלום עלינו, עוד יבוא שלום עלינו, עוד יבוא שלום עלינו ועל כולם. סלאם, סלאם עלינו ועל כל העולם. סלאם, שלום. סלאם, סלאם עלינו ועל כל העולם. סלאם, שלום. עוד יבוא שלום עלינו, עוד יבוא שלום עלינו, עוד יבוא שלום עלינו ועל כולם. ברוך אתה אדוני אלוהינו מלך העולם, בורא פרי הגפן. ברוך אתה אדוני אלוהינו מלך העולם, אשר קידשנו במצוותיו ורצה בנו, ושבת קודשו באהבה וברצון הנחילנו, זיכרון למעשה וראשית, כי הוא יום תחילה למקראי קודש, זכר ליציאת מצרים. כי בנו בחרת ואותנו קידשת מכל העמים, ושבת קודשך באהבה וברצון הנחלתנו. ברוך אתה אדוני מקדש השבת.
As we continue with the motzi. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam, hamotzi lechem min haaretz. Shabbat shalom.